When students are learning base 10 concepts, they are combining multiplicative understanding, which means each place is 10 times the value of the place to the right, with the position system. Each place has a value, something hard for students to learn prior to learning multiplication. Physical models for base 10 concepts play a key role in helping students develop the idea of a 10 and both a single entity and as a set of 10 units, especially for students. The model for the 10 is a physical 10 times larger than a model of a 1. The 100 model is 10 times larger than the 10 model. Groupable models are models that most clearly reflect the relationship of a 1s, 10s, and 100s, are those for which students can build the 10s from the single piece and units and verify its value. If you put 10 beans in a cup, and 10 beans literally is the same as 10 single beans. As you can see, you can also use bundles of wooden craft sticks or coffee stirrers can be grouped with rubber bands. You can also use plastic connecting cubes. As students begin to make groupings of 10s, start introducing the language of the 10s by matching the objects, such as cups of 10s and 1s and bundles of 10s and singles. Then graduate to general phrases such as groups of 10s and 1s. Pre-group models, such as the ones in the picture here, and base 10 materials cannot be taken apart or put together. When 10 single pieces are accumulated, they must be exchanged or traded in for 1 10. And likewise with 10s must be traded for 100s, so you have 10 10s and 100. A significant change with using the pre-grouped physical models occur when students have not first adequately experienced the groupable models. Then there is a potential for students to use them without reflecting on the 10 to 1 relationship. Groups of 10. Prepare bags of different types of objects such as toothpicks, buttons, beans, plastic chips, connecting cubes, craft sticks, and other items. Students should see the bag of 10s activity page or a record sheet similar to the one on page 219 or figure 10.5. The bags can be placed at stations around the room or given to pairs of students. Students empty the bags of the content. The amount is recorded on as a number word. Then the objects are grouped in as many 10s as possible. The groups are recorded on the form. After returning the bags to the objects to the bag, bags are traded or students move to another station. Note that students with disabilities may initially need to use 10 frame to support their counting. Then the use of 10 frames should eventually fade. In 10.5 again, on the Get This Many activity page, students count the dots, then count out the corresponding numbers of the counters. Provide small cups to put the groups in 10s. The activity requires students to first count the set in a way they understand. Then they record the amount in words, and then they make the place value groupings. Fill the 10s and loop this many activity pages. Begin with a verbal word or a number word. Students must count the identical amount and then make groups. You can show the students any quantities of 250 to 1000 items. For example, you might use a container of lima beans, a long chain of connecting links or paper clips, a box of pennies, or a grocery bag full of straws. First, have students make and record their estimates of how many beans, for example, are in the container. Discuss how students determine their estimates, then distribute portions of the beans to pairs of students to put into cups of 10 beans. Collecting leftover beans and put them into groups of 10 As well, now asked, how can you use these groups of 10 to tell how many beans we have? Can we make new groups from the groups of 10? What is 10 groups of 10 called? Be prepared with some larger containers or baggies, and into which 10 cups can be placed. When all groups are made, count the hundreds, tens, and ones separately. Base 10 riddles can be presented orally or written form. In either case, students should use base 10 materials to help solve the riddles. On this page, the examples illustrate a variety of different levels of difficulty. Students will write new riddles when they complete these. When teaching oral names, you will want to use base 10 models. Initially, rather than using standard number words, use the more explicit base 10 language, for example 4 tens and 7 ones instead of 47. You can use sheets of paper to cover up the dots on a sheet of paper. You can have 20 as 2 rows of 10 and cover up the rest of the dots. Or you can have 40 tens, you cover up 40. Then you could have 40 tens and 3, so you cover up 40, and then leave 3 more with 2 sheets of paper. You can draw out 7 tens by having 7 straight rows of 10 connecting cubes and 8 ones left over, which are separate, not connected, to make 78.